Welcome to my YouTube channel, Chi-Town Horror Stories. I'm Karl Mars, and today I'm going to share with you a tale that still sends shivers down my spine. This isn't just any spooky story, it's my story. Something I lived through as a young man driving the CTA buses down the longest street in Chicago, Halsted Street. From the bustling neighborhoods to the eerie outskirts, Halsted has its share of secrets, and I've seen them up close. So settle in, because what I'm about to tell you ain't for the faint of heart. I landed the job as a CTA bus driver fresh out of college. Eager and a bit naive, I was assigned to the Halsted route. This street, I tell you, it stretches from the vibrant corners of the city right into what feels like another world. In the beginning, it was all normal. Folks hustling to work, kids goofing around on their way to school, the elderly sharing stories. Neighborhoods like Lakeview East buzzed with energy, while Lincoln Park flaunted its charm. But Halsted, she's a different beast at night. It started with odd little things. Passengers who'd get on and never seemed to get off, folks whispering about strange shadows, or the way the streetlights would flicker as we drove through near North Side. It was all easy to brush off until that one night in West Town. That's when I realized that Halsted wasn't just a street. It might as well have been a portal to something unknown. As I continued my nightly drives, the bus rolled through neighborhoods where the air felt heavier, the darkness more consuming. South Shore, with its lakefront beauty by day, turned into a canvas of lurking shadows by night. The laughter of day transformed into whispers that clung to the bus seats, whispers of the lost souls wandering the streets. Riverdale was next, a place where the light of day hardly seemed to penetrate the gloom. Here, the faces boarding the bus weren't just tired. They were haunted, eyes hollow, as if they had seen too much. Stories of crime and despair hung in the air, but these weren't the only tales that made my skin crawl. In Grand Crossing, the air tasted of fear. Each stop brought a sense of foreboding. I began to notice passengers who seemed out of place not just in their attire but in their very essence. They spoke in hushed tones about things that shouldn't exist, things that lurked in the corners of Austin, a neighborhood marred by violence, but also by something more sinister. West Englewood was no different. The night there held a different kind of darkness, one that seemed to swallow the streetlights whole. I'd hear murmurs about East Garfield Park, about North Lawndale and Englewood, each word laced with dread. These weren't just high-crime areas, they were breeding grounds for tales that blurred the lines between reality and nightmare. Then came the night that changed everything. A fog had settled over the city, thick and unyielding, as I began my route. The bus was nearly empty, save for a few souls brave enough to venture into the night. We passed through the familiar streets, the bus's headlights struggling against the fog. As we entered North Lawndale, an elderly woman boarded the bus. Her eyes were pools of sorrow, and she clutched a tattered photo of a young boy. She whispered about Englewood, how her grandson had vanished into thin air one evening, right after stepping onto a Halsted bus. The bus grew colder as we approached Englewood. Another passenger, a young man, eyes wide with unspoken terror, boarded. He spoke in a trembling voice about his sister, last seen on a bus in East Garfield Park, a place he claimed was a gateway to a realm of lost souls. Each stop seemed to peel back a layer of reality, revealing a world that lurked beneath the surface of Chicago's notorious neighborhoods. The bus was no longer just a vehicle. It was a vessel traversing a city of despair and phantoms. The faces of the missing seemed to flicker in the windows, their silent screams echoing in my ears. As we neared West Englewood, the bus filled with an eerie light, and the streets outside morphed into unfamiliar, twisted versions of themselves. Buildings leaned in, as if to whisper dark secrets. Shadows danced at the edge of my vision, and the air turned thick with the scent of unspoken fears. I realized then that I was no longer driving the bus. I was merely a spectator in a macabre parade of the damned. Each neighborhood we passed through, South Shore, Riverdale, Grand Crossing, seemed to have conspired to reveal its darkest face, its most haunting stories etched into the very fabric of the night. As the dawn began to break, casting a pale light over the city, an unexpected passenger boarded my bus. She was an old lady, her presence oddly comforting, reminding me of my late grandmother. Wrapped in a shawl, she carried with her the soothing scent of essential oils, a stark contrast to the lingering dread that filled the bus. "Stop the bus," she said gently, her voice a calming balm to my frayed nerves. "Rest for a while, young man. You need it." Her request defied all my training and procedures. I should have dismissed her outright, but after the night I'd endured, Her words felt like a command I couldn't refuse. I pulled over, the engine's rumble ceasing, leaving us in an unfamiliar silence. The old lady closed her eyes and took deep, measured breaths. "Breathe with me," she instructed. I obeyed, my own breath syncing with hers, a rhythm that seemed to pulse with the very heartbeat of the city. Time lost meaning as we breathed. The horrors of the night faded into the background, replaced by a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. When I finally opened my eyes, the bus was bathed in the soft glow of morning and the old lady was gone. In her place, around my neck hung a pendant, its weight reassuring, a symbol of protection. Shaken, I returned to the depot, my mind a whirlwind of questions. That very next day, the news reported a tragedy. A Halsted bus, similar to mine, had crashed in the early hours of the morning. The driver, my colleague, was killed instantly. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Had it not been for the old lady's intervention, that could have been me. My mental health spiraled in the aftermath. The images of the haunted journey, the protective pendant, and the near-miss accident clouded my every thought. The company put me on sick leave, recognizing the toll the night had taken on me. To this day, the pendant remains around my neck, a constant companion. Its presence offers a semblance of safety, a shield against unseen horrors. I resigned from my job as a bus driver, unable to face the streets that had once been my livelihood. But the story doesn't end there. Despite everything, the Halsted bus, number 0666, still roams the streets of Chicago. I hear tales of it, whispers of a bus that travels a route not found on any map, its journey a passage through the city's darkest secrets and fears. Sometimes late at night, when the city sleeps and the shadows grow long, I find myself drawn to the window, looking out towards Halsted Street. In the distance, the faint sound of a bus engine echoes, a ghostly reminder of the night that changed everything. I've come to accept that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, some horrors not meant to be understood. The pendant is my silent guardian, a token of an encounter that straddles the line between reality and the supernatural. So, to those who ride the Halsted bus, be wary. You may just find yourself on a journey beyond your wildest nightmares, where the boundaries of the world blur, and the only thing certain is the uncertainty of what lies at the next stop. And to that old lady, wherever you are, I owe you more than you'll ever know. You saved me that night in more ways than one.